Good night everyone and welcome back to the Nocturnal Corner with Bat. Today we're doing our next weapon showcase with the Imps, a rapid fire machine gun that is actually probably one of my favorites. I absolutely adore rapid fire machine guns because these things are beastly. Yes, they don't really have great durability, so they are easily stripped, but if you get in on your target, it's gonna feel somewhat like a shotgun mixed with a machine gun. Like that's truly what I think this is. It's basically your submachine gun. It is gonna have one of the lower energy drains as well at only 3, so you can slap 4 or 5 of these bad boys, and that goes for even the legendary and the special one as well. These things will give you a lot of versatility. Except for range, and I will get into that. They don't have good range at all. And yes, it does show that it's not really high on damage, but that fire rate, it's like a minigun mixed with a shotgun. That's what it's more like. Not shotgun machine gun, shotgun minigun. That's what this thing feels like, and it's great. Now right here, this perk, each projectile that hits an enemy slows down weapon heating. It's basically like you got the little rare cooler when you're hitting your target, and it is noticeable. Because I'm gonna go to one of our next builds here, just so you can see an example. This one has the Imps with the Fidgets. And unlike other machine guns, these ones actually all have the same heating rate. But coming over here, you can see the obvious difference that you are getting that 30% to where you can see the Imps are definitely overheating way faster than the Imps in the front. So let's go back to our first build so you can see the first craft of the show. It is going to be the Fast Fire by Titman mix. This build is very, very good. Like, if you are not familiar with the rapid fire machine guns, you could possibly, well, if you don't have Fidgets, you could actually throw on piercers on this thing, because for a small little banana build, it is actually tanky. It's great for the low power score. This is going to be our only low power score one at 5k, and it is a very, very great build. You should really consider throwing on rapid fire machine guns with a growl and play low power score so you can get a familiar feel with it. So if you get an option, like, you know, if you feel like you want to actually try it, you should probably look up Titman's build. It is absolutely amazing. I gotta give credit to him for it. So I'm gonna come to the test range real quick, and I'm gonna show you the range of this machine gun. Tap firing, it is pretty solid at 50. Tap firing, it is pretty solid at 100. The tap fire for 150 is a little bit iffy though. So you really want to keep up with your enemy, stay up close with them, and you're probably going to have a much better time. Now rapid firing, it's pretty decent at 50. Rapid firing at 100, you can definitely see a lot of shots are missing. Rapid fire at 150, yeah, nothing. Now the 200, tap, rapid, you can see this thing has way more short range. I believe it has more range than a shotgun, less than a minigun, because the minigun does have a shorter range than regular machine guns now. Look at that turn. Great donuts. You're definitely, when you're going in there and you're fighting those lower K builds that aren't just a bunch of spiders and whatnot, this build just goes around them. Solid. And even has, like you just saw, some great melee damage. And what happened here, where it just lifted this guy up like that, you are definitely going to be seeing that when you hit the little cars with this build and lower power score. Like I said, solid build by Titman. And actually, before I go, I am going to have a variety of Fidgets ranging from 3 to 5, and I just want you to get a little bit of a feel to see what you're looking at. So if you know anything about power scores, 1954 is very solid at low power scores, so you're definitely going to be melting a lot of vehicles. So after that, let's move on to our next one. These two, I can't really say their names. If you've watched my videos, you know I'm not very good with it. So I'm just going to call it this one, Kella 1 build user blueprint 10. This build is great. I did test out the other Catalina build while I was looking for builds to showcase, and I almost thought to myself that the Catalina was absolutely terrible with fidgets, because I was, like, I'm not even gonna lie, I was getting smoked. It took me a while to actually get 2 good games with the Catalina and those 4 fidgets. And I think it's mainly because the power score was just in a bad place with just 4 fidgets and how the guns were positioned. This build, as you can see, they have that little bit of distance with them. They got great traversal, so if somebody actually hits you on your side or whatever, these can actually still hit them a little bit. But usually it's not really too much of a worry, unlike the banana builds, because of the Omni wheels. And if you know anything about Omni wheels, they're just basically hover wheels to where you can strafe, you can go to the sides, you can like do a bunch of maneuvers, and it also has that mouse aim, so your build's gonna follow your every move. You can even be stationary and pretend this thing is tracks, and like, look at that. Omni wheels are just solid with this weapon, and usually solid with a lot of weapons, even cannons, shotguns. But you will definitely find most of your shine if you can get some Omni wheels with your fidgets, imps, or even piercers. And to be an added bonus, reduces the rate of spread increase by 33% when firing or when turning the weapons. That is superb with these weapons, because as I showed just a little bit ago, these weapons have really high spread and accuracy decrease. So having that little bit extra is definitely very helpful. And if you do end up with the banana build like the one I just showed, I would probably recommend, if you can get it, and like I said, if you're gonna go with the ground cabin like I said as well, so you try to stop by and get some of the small tracks. And the reason for that is because of how they added the ability reduces the weapon spread by 20% at speed above 80. And if you're going to be running circles around your enemies, you might as well have that little bit of extra spread, which is going to be very helpful to you. So, next up is going to be Jaros' Kurt. This one I'm going to have to say I favored even more than the last one. These guns were even tougher to take off, and I'm going to say this just because I forgot to say it in the other one. The imps and the piercer are not going to be on the builds during the showcase. I will be replacing them to all fidgets. And I'm not going to show all 5 fidget damage with this one. I'm going to show it with the last one. But you can see, I feel like there's a difference with this cabin versus the Catalina. That this one just feels so smooth. Like, this feels great. I gotta give it to Jaros. This build is amazing. It looks sexy. Even if it only has that 1,400 health, it was actually taking hits pretty well, and it was managing to keep all the weapons on there. Maybe I'll lose like 1 or 2 here and there, usually none at all. And this build is just solid. This build feels great. It played great. And I would have to say it's probably one of my favorites out of all the ones I tested today. Actually, it might be the favorite that I have. And I hope that I can get the upgraded version that has all imps, because he does have the other one, and I really want to try that. So this is going to be our next runner-up, and you can see this build is beautiful. So let's move on to our next one. This is the build I tested before this one. And Rapid Meltdown here, I kind of wonder if he chose that name for how you're going to feel when you play with it. Yes, it can shoot both sides and the front rather well. It is a pretty beefy little build that has 2k health, and it is with the Catalina. It is decently fast and all, and I didn't really have too many issues driving with it. It did feel a little bit awkward. You can see it kind of like has like this hard point to where it just turns real hard. but it was definitely pretty solid, except that if you took any shots, like from the sides or front, you were like almost guaranteed to lose a Fidget. And that's why I had such a hard time with it, is because I was just constantly losing my Fidgets with this build. Do I think it's an awful build or anything like that? No, but as soon as a bot or something was targeting you and you took that one hit, you always lost this one in the like upper middle. And if you tried ramming, like if you tried getting too close and you accidentally hit them or something, or if they just had that lucky cannon shot, you always lost the front one. And as soon as that front one whiffed, the next one went, and the next one went, and it was a domino effect. Like it was always those, just like that. Now, like I said, before I showed you the damage of 5 Fidgets, I'm going to show you the damage of the 4 right here. That is excellent damage. Excellent. Like, it may not look like much, but when you're doing that and hitting your enemy, they'll feel it. Trust me. This weapon is fantastic. It's just sad that the build didn't perform as well as I hoped it would have. So, now we're going to be moving on to the last one. This one's going to have a bunch of imps on it. I am so jealous. And you can see it's overweight and everything, so I'm not really going to showcase the original. This is going to be the only one that I really modified, just so it'd be a little bit better, and I didn't really change too much. It was mainly I changed the color of the weapons, and I rearranged some of the parts, not ones that are like on top or anything, so that way it would be a little bit better, and I wouldn't have this weight thing. But for the most part, it was exactly the same build, and it's basically the one you've seen here. This one. It is another banana build and whatnot, but you can see the shots are getting blocked. But I didn't mind that too much, and I actually really enjoyed playing with this build because of how tanky it was. Look, that's almost 4,000 health right there at the bottom. This thing is almost like those big spiders, except faster, and with a gun that I actually like. Now this build is solid. Like, I was getting cap canned and had some hover guy, you know, like you get hit by the 2 cap cans, and the hover just came over and started hitting me with porcupines and whatnot while I was getting shot with machine guns, and somehow they weren't taking off the Fidgets. Like, I was just rolling around usually with all 5 of them, no problem, and I could still drive. Like, you would think that the frame in the middle or something would break, but dude, I don't know what he did with this build, but this thing is solid. This thing is absolutely solid. This is a great build. The only problem is, yeah, that it does have that like a little bit of a weak spot right there, but this thing, it's a tank. It is a machine gun tank. This is what the Russians wish their Terminator would be. And another added benefit that this one has versus the other one I just showed before is that I was actually ramming people with this one, and I didn't have to really worry about that front one coming off. Like, I don't know how he accomplished that. Maybe it's whatever is in the front of this thing, but I was hitting people, and because this thing isn't, you know, the lightest of cabins or whatever, you can still actually push people around too and just bully them like that. Like, this great build, absolutely solid build, man. Now let me show you the damage of 5. This one's gonna overheat like the first one, but doesn't matter because look at that. Almost 3K, and this thing was not and this thing overheated. Now, one of the other things is, and why I have this build, is because I really wanted to see how it would be with this. And let me tell you, this is definitely a build that, if you know when to time that invisibility and you get behind enemy lines to an unsuspecting player, this thing shreds them. If you don't have fucking flamethrowers, get rapid fire machine guns. Well, if you can. solid stuff. Now, I'll tell you the author of it, because I forgot to do that. This is by DP Shoot to Kill. Great build. And this one is by 46N2. I didn't remember if I said that one. But this one, solid. This one's solid, solid, solid. This one is the only one that I was a bit iffy with. And, let me see. Okay, so these three, I was just checking to see, I said these three. The reason I said three is because I was thinking about the co-drivers. But these three co-drivers, the ones that you see here, the Bully, the Grizzly, and Falcon, those are probably going to be your best bets. Yeah, you could use Jade or whatever, but the benefits from that aren't really going to help you. The Bully is going to make your weapons a little bit weaker, but if you start getting your shots in and you're just getting it down, you'll notice that at that low power score you're going to be shredding. The Grizzly obviously is Grizzly. It's damage reduction, you're going to take more hits. That's probably why this thing was even more tanky than I realized. And then Falcon. Falcon was a so-so for me, because he has a fantastic mini perk with that 15% reduction to spread while moving, and really you want to keep moving so that way your guns can't get hit. So that was a great little mini perk for this weapon, and his ability can actually work very well if you're not getting shot. Because you can tear through armor a little bit and get some modules, but I guess that's just your opinion. If you think it would be great. I personally didn't really have a problem with Falcon. I didn't have nothing against him. I was just on the fence thinking about it, just because I don't play Falcon too much, and I was just wondering if there would be one, if Billy or whatnot was better. But to be honest, these three co-drivers, Billy, Falcon, and Grizzly, are all very solid with the rapid fire machine guns. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little introduction with the Fidgets, and I hope you find your favorite spot on the ceiling with your little bag of popcorn, and I hope you enjoy the show and have an amazing night. And if you do enjoy it, hopefully you'll leave me a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. You have a great rest of your night.